beginning of the agenda. That'd be Council Lady Allen's. If nobody has any objections, we're just going to rule on the late nature of the filing. And this will be an ordinance adopting the 2022, 2023 through 2027, 2028 capital improvements budget for the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County as the official capital improvements budget of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County for fiscal year 2022-2023. Councilor Allen, you can speak to the late nature of this.
Thank you. Well, I will say that this is part of the whole budget sequence, and it has to be voted on 3 times and end up landing within the budget sequence and being passed before the end of June. So that's why we need to go ahead and keep it on there. Margaret, is there anything you would like to add to that?
The charter requires that the budget be filed by May 15, the CIB be filed by May 15 and then approved by June 15. So you're on a tight time frame to get it filed and approved at the same time.
Any questions, or is it, yes?
Why is it late filed?
It is technically late filed under the rules, but not the charter. So the council rules require everything to be filed the Tuesday before the meeting.
Right.
The charter requires the capital improvements budget to be filed no later than May 15. So you have until May 15 to get it filed. So that's why it's technically late filed under the council rules.
I just mean, why was it filed late?
So that's, if you go back to every CIB, when they don't meet the charter rules, this is, you'll see them technically categorized as late filed, but they meet the charter deadline.
So it's a normal thing for the
It is a very
CIB to be
normal
late filed? Okay, thank you.
So it was a choice between the charter and the council. Sounds like something the charter committee should take up.
Any other questions about this? Does anybody have any objection to the late file nature of this bill? You have any? Or
No,
just
no.
waving at me? Okay.
Just wait.
All right, we have no objections, so thank you, Council Lady Allen. All right, now we will take up RS 2022-1541. Bradford is the sponsor. I don't have any letter. Recognize the heroism of National International Airport
We roll it to
volunteers.
the hill.
Thank you, Council Lady Murphy. I don't see him. We will roll to the heat. Now we'll do yours. Council Lady Murphy recognizes the 2022 Fair Housing Conference and expressing the Metro Council's support of fair housing in Nashville and Davidson County. That's Resolution 2022-1542. Council Lady Murphy?
So moved.
Thank you. This is, they have the conference is actually, I think, the 19th, which happens to be my mother's birthday, so it was very convenient for them to ask me to present this. Don't worry, I'll be taking care of her, Antoinette. And so I think this just furthers our commitment to affordable housing and putting a clear statement that we support conferences that work towards that effort.
Question?
Any questions? Okay. Council Lady
Call
Lee?
the question?
What did you say?
She wants a vote, call the
You
question.
called the question?
Yes.
All right. All in favor of the question being called?
Aye.
Any against? Okay, the question has been called. All in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we recommend approval. Thank you, Council Lady Allen. Councilman Syracuse, RS 2022-1543, recognizes the Liverpool International Song Contest, Road to Nashville 2022. I have a motion.
Second.
All right, Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Councilmember. This is an extraordinary international event. This started a year ago, and we are in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this event, this international event, supports songwriters and the stigma of mental health and whatnot. And so last year when they did this, actually it was 2 years ago when they did this, 2.5, it was thousands of songwriters that submitted. And it's going to be even bigger this year and with multiple countries. This is going to be culminating on October 9th, which is John Lennon's birthday, obviously a Liverpool connection, and it's going to be at Exit Inn. So there's a strong Liverpool and Nashville connection here, and ask for your approval.
All right, any questions? All right, we're ready to take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we recommend approval. Thanks, Councilman Syracuse. Now we'll move to late items. I don't see Councilmember O'Connell here. Councilmember Evans, you are listed as a sponsor on the next one. Are you able to speak to the resolution content and the late nature?
I can't speak to the emergency filing, and so I just texted Councilman O'Connell to see if he was coming in to speak to that.
Councilman Syracuse?
I believe there's an event coming up, but I would prefer.
Okay,
Councilmember
we'll roll
O'Connell.
that to the
Probably
heel.
diverted
Ms.
by
Darby
the,
knows? Do
by
we know why
the,
it's you don't?
We'll roll it to the
by
heel
the
and move to the
birds.
next one.
They had,
Oh,
they
you
turned the
think?
lights off for the birds, so they couldn't get it here in time.
All right. Next late resolution is Councilmember Johnston. She is here. It amends Resolution RS 2021-1201 to issue general obligation bonds of the Metro government to reallocate funding. Now, we are only going to rule on the emergency nature of this filing. Councilmember Johnston, can you speak to that?
Yes, so this is an alternate allocation to the purchase of 88 Hermitage Road, or Hermitage Avenue, I'm sorry, which we have on our agenda tonight, so to match up that timing, that's why it is late filed. I think both things are gonna be deferred, but I still am gonna move to suspend the rules just so we can have this conversation, because I think it's an important one that should be had more than just deferring and then taking it up next week's, in 2 weeks, so.
Does anybody have any questions on the late file nature of this resolution?
No, I think it's very appropriate and timely to move it on out.
All right. Anybody else got any questions relative to the late file nature? All right, anybody have any objections? Okay, no objection to this late filing. Thank you, Councilmember Johnston. We got another late file resolution by Councilmember Johnston. We'll be ruling on the emergency nature of this and the resolution content. This is requesting inspection of the condition and cost of rehabilitation of the structure located at the 88 Hermitage Avenue property be made prior to the acquisition of this property by the Metropolitan government. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, the bill's on the floor, and Council Lady Johnson, can you speak to the late file nature first, and then we will get into the resolution content.
So same as before, it's tracking with the resolution that would enter us into an agreement to purchase the property, so it needs to obviously track with it. Does anybody
have any objection to the late file nature of this? Any questions relative to that? Okay, we have no objection to the late file nature now. Can you speak to the content?
Yes, so the content of it requires basically due diligence. We're looking at purchasing a property that is, as has been said by the appraiser, that is in basically disrepair. And we're wanting to save the structure. So with a $20 million price tag plus an unidentified price tag to renovate and repair the structure, which I'm hearing should be quite significant. I think it's prudent for us as stewards of taxpayer dollars to know what we are getting into prior to the actual acquisition of this property. So I am requiring not only a more appropriate appraisal on this property that would match up with what our intended use is of it, but also for the due diligence of inspections and cost estimates for the renovation of the property.
Any questions relative to the content of this resolution? Yes, Councilor Murphy.
Not to be Council Lady Johnson's cheerleader tonight, but I mean, I think it's entirely appropriate that we know all the facts. You don't, well, in this market in Nashville, you do buy houses without contingencies and inspections, but I think good financial practices say that you do your due diligence and know the condition, and Metro has not always done that. And so thank you very much for being on top of it and requiring this, because I think this is our third time on this merry-go-round.
Any other
I'll take a
questions?
cheerleader anytime.
Any other questions? I would second that. And, all right, without any other questions, we will take the vote. All in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We recommend approval. Thanks, Council Lady Johnston. I'm assuming Councilmember Porterfield is here to speak to the next late file resolution. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This will be we're going to be speaking of the emergency filing and the resolution content on this. We'll take up the emergency nature first. And this is a resolution remembering the victims of this weekend's terror attack at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, and condemning the actions of the shooter along with the circumstances that caused it. So let's get it on the floor. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
All right, it's on the floor now. First, would you speak to the late file nature of this, Councilmember Porterfield?
Yes, as we all know, there was a shooting and terrorist attack on Saturday, March the 14th, which obviously happened after the filing deadline for regularly filed legislation.
Okay.
so I'm asking that you all please consider and consider, oh goodness, I just drew a blank. Consider suspension of the rules. Thank you. Consider suspension of the rules.
Does anybody have any questions relative to specifically to the late file nature of this?
Not to the late filed, but I request on the floor that you ask for the other Murphy rule that Rosenberg hates to have us all sign on.
Oh, my
Thank you.
goodness.
That may get an objection on the late file, though.
You can ask the clerk anytime you like to sign.
Does any,
Recommend it.
does anyone have any objection to the late file nature of this file? All right, so we have no objection. Now, Councilmember Porterfield, would you like to speak to the substance of the resolution?
Yes, this is a resolution that, again, is remembering the victims who lost their lives in this heinous act, doing the thing that we all do every single week, every single month, going to the grocery store. It was very tragic that this happened and that people lost their lives. It's very upsetting, frankly, and we're just coming as a body saying that we are condemning these actions.
All right, any questions relative to the resolution? All right, we're ready to take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We recommend approval. Thank you very much. So Councilmember Murphy is signing on to the original resolution, so we can get that out of the way. It recognizes the heroism in Nashville International Airport volunteer Ernest Cobble on April 17th, 2022. Is there a?
So moved.
All right. Any questions? Well, you can go ahead and explain if you want to.
He was a great man and a wonderful volunteer at the airport.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions relative to this?
No.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we recommend approval. Now let's see here. We'll go back to Councilmember O'Connell's late file resolution where we will vote on the emergency nature of it and the resolution content. So, thank you, Councilmember O'Connell. This recognizes the 75th anniversary of the Nashville Symphony. Let's get it on the floor. Motion.
So moved.
All right, and so if you could speak to the late file nature first, we'll rule on that objection or non.
Yes, sir. This is late primarily because we just missed by a few hours the deadline for submission. I was working with the symphony to get their text in. The good news is it sounds like they're working to have a couple of musicians come up here to council to give us a performance on the evening of June 7th. And I hope that people can attend their 75th anniversary performance of Beethoven's Ninth the weekend prior. So it's just a timing issue, mostly my part, but I wanted to get the language exactly right.
Anyone have any any questions relative to the late file nature? Anybody have any objection? All right, well, there's no objection. Now, would you like to speak to the content?
It is just a recognition of our wonderful Nashville Symphony, which has been through a lot, including having their facility flooded in their 75 years. But I know Councilmember Evans can speak to the quality of their pop series, and I'm excited to be recognizing them as they celebrate 75 years in Nashville.
All right. Any questions of Councilmember O'Connell? Okay, we're ready to take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We recommend approval. Thank you, sir. All right, I think we're finished with all the items. And Ms. Wilhoit, let me ask you a question. Are all 9 of your members here?
For the ones that's not here, we're just gonna choose these people right here. I think it's 9 people here. There are basically all 9. Let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is one missing? Carnell Scruggs, I think.
There's one missing?
And Lori. Yeah, so
Okay,
there's
well-
7 here minus 2.
7 here. All right,
I mean,
well,
9 minus 2.
I'd like to take them all together because they're all reappointments.
Gotcha.
So I'll
Gotcha.
tell you what I'll do is we'll give you an opportunity to have those other 2 show up. And if not, we'll
Here
take
comes the 8th one. Now we need Lori.
Okay. All right, we'll do the others ahead of time and maybe the 9th one will show up. and
Okay.
we'll do them all together. Thank
Sounds
you so
good.
much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
So we'll start with the Beer Board appointment of Ms. Carolyn Perry for a term expiring October 31st, 2023. Ms. Perry, you're here? Okay, great. I just have a couple of questions for you. Are you a registered voter?
Am I a registered voter?
Yes, ma'am.
I am.
Are you a Davidson County resident?
I am.
And do you serve on any other Metro boards or commissions?
I do not.
All right, this is a first-time appointment for you?
It is.
Oh, awesome. Would you like to tell us why you want to serve the city in this capacity?
Sure. So I'm a practicing attorney at Waller. I'm a litigator, and I've had to come before the board before on behalf of the client. And so to see how you all operate and the kind of integral function that you guys play, I wanted to be able to participate if possible, and an opportunity arose, so I wanted to fill the seat.
Thank you for that. And any questions of Ms. Perry? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Do we need to check your video?
Well, it's
It's just
yeah,
hearing,
you know,
yeah.
I think
Sorry.
Yeah,
7 years of sitting next to each
that
other.
finger doesn't count.
So, I'm sorry. You said you represented a few clients before the board, and I know that the practice you're with is Waller Lansing currently, is
That's
that
right.
correct? And so I know that they have quite a monopoly almost on representing many board applicants. What is your plan if they become, if any of your co-counsels, co-workers, colleagues at Waller come before the board?
My plan initially, and still is recusal, but I will tell you that group has since left the firm within the past week, so I won't say perfect timing, but it is a bit of perfect timing. So I don't know that that will present as much of a concern anymore, but to the extent it does happen with clients that we still have, I would recuse myself.
Okay. And clients you've worked on in the past as well, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any other questions, Ms. Perry? Okay, then we're ready to take the vote. All in favor of recommending her appointment?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to recommend approval. Thank you very much, Ms. Perry. Now we will move to the Planning Commission, where we have 3 appointments, actually 2 are reappointments. So I can take those 2 together, and that would be the reappointment of Mr. Greg Atkins for a term expiring March 31st, 2026, and the reappointment of Ms. Jessica Farr for a term expiring March 31st, 2026. Yeah, what are you doing over there, Lucy? Disrupting this meeting?
I'm just observing.
You are.
Probably your best interest to just observe.
Right. Okay, so, Mr. Atkins and Ms. Farr, I will ask both of you these questions together. Are you registered voters?
Yes.
Yes.
Davidson County residents?
Yes.
Yes.
And serve on any other metro boards or commissions?
No. Thank
You've been down this road before,
Say
so
no, thank you.
do you want to say anything about your service on the planning commission? Feel free to do so. You don't have to.
I think I should. I am honored to have this opportunity to serve another 4 years. It's been great, learning a lot in the last 8 years, and excited to continue to have a voice in our decisions on Nashville's future growth.
She's a fierce advocate for affordable housing, by the way, too, I would say.
I think we all know how fierce she is. So. Any questions of either of the 2 of them?
I'll just say that serving with both of them, the first part of this term, which, as we all know, was COVID term, the way Greg handled the meeting with Lucy, the way the staff worked together to make sure that we were still on track was phenomenal. And to have both our chair and vice chair back up for reappointments, I think that really is a strong testament to the leadership over there that we need to continue in the right direction. So I learned a lot from y'all on there, and I'm just really, really excited that y'all are willing to stay on. And hopefully there were no threats from Lucy.
I can't commit to that.
Any other questions of these 2 appointments?
I appreciate my council person.
I appreciate my constituent as well. Although his wife was here last time and didn't bring margaritas, and neither did he this time, so I don't know what's going on, but.
It's disgusting.
We'll take that up after
Yeah.
social committee will be meeting there this weekend.
Yeah.
I can certainly say they've been on the planning commission for the majority, if not all, my 2 terms here, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen by both of you. So I'm real thrilled to death that you guys are signing up for another reappointment. We're just tickled to death to have you. Any other questions or comments? All right, we're ready to take the vote. All in favor of Mr. Atkins and Ms. Farr's reappointment?
Aye.
Any opposed? We recommend your appointment. Thank you both for your service to Nashville.
And I have parking tickets for anybody and everybody.
Now we have a new member of the planning commission.
He's not really new.
The Planning Commission appointment of my former council member, Mr. Stuart Clifton, for a term expiring March 31st, 2025. Mr. Clifton, great to see you. Former council member Clifton. So I'll ask you the same questions. Are you a registered voter?
I am.
Are you a Davidson County resident?
Yes, I am.
Do you serve on any other metro boards or commissions at this time?
Not at this time.
Do you regret sending me that letter making me tear the fence down that I built while I was one of your constituents?
Yes, yes.
I think it was the last time you were wrong about anything, though.
Well done.
Yeah, you know, I teed it up for you. You hit it out of the park.
Courtney and I are gonna need the full record on that.
Well, I was wrong, so that's it. That's the bottom line. But thank you for your service. You want to tell us why you want to do this?
Well, I was surprised. When I got the call from the mayor's office, what I was surprised about was that I immediately wanted to do it. I hadn't known I wanted to do it. I hadn't lobbied for this, but it just felt right. I realized I've been on it for a while in the past. I hope I can make a contribution, but it just felt like something I would like to do. I think it's an important time for the commission, and I hope some of my background will help a little bit on some of the issues we're dealing with.
Any questions of Mr. Clifton?
Well, I don't have questions, I always have comments. I do think that ever since Stuart rolled off during our first term, I've been trying to convince him to go to the mayor and say he wants to go back on. And he very firmly told me no on multiple occasions, which is not unusual for Stuart and I, for him to just tell me no for things. But I think that you will be bringing back a lot of good historical knowledge at a time when we need it. We've had a lot of zone changes, text changes, not that y'all haven't been around for those, but I think having some time and space away from the commission and coming back is gonna bring some fresh perspective, and also your environmental background cannot be matched for anyone on the commission, and it is desperately needed right now with all the building we have. So I really appreciate your willingness to continue to serve, because you've done a lot for the city.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. Man, what a strong planning commission this is shaping up to be. So, yeah, intimidating.
I know, it's exciting. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, it is, very much so. Any other questions of Mr. Clifton? All right, ready to take the vote. All in favor of his appointment?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we recommend approval. Thank you for your service, my former council member. All right, is Ms. Wilhoit here? Yeah. Anybody needs a parking
Yes,
ticket, please feel free to come
They
up here.
don't
Yes.
double for free ice cream though.
They don't?
It's
I'll
just
handle
parking,
that.
no free ice cream.
Oh, thank you.
Here.
Yes, please. How are we doing? We got all 9 of them?
Here, let me get some, sorry,
Think they've
Chairman.
got Servant leader right here, servant leader.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilhoit, how are we doing? We got all 9?
That person is not in the chamber. I thought that maybe she was in the chamber because that's where you were last when they when they were appointed, because I've
Sure.
got these two out there, because they're thinking they were going to the chamber, so we're minus one.
And which one is
And I
that?
have my office staff, she's at a funeral. Please request a deferral until
First
next
one,
meeting.
Lori Case?
There we go.
Okay.
Done.
Is
All right,
there,
we'll
is
go
there a
with-
limit on that though?
What's that?
If we defer, has there been any time limits?
I don't think so, according to what legal stated, because this really should have been on when you were appointing the official board, because these are alternates. They did quote some type of piece of legislation that allowed for the timing to occur. One of the things I must say, that the board, which you've already appointed them, must convene according to law on June the 1st, so the board will. These are your alternates, I think you're gonna be fine.
We're not up against a deadline that it's an automatic approval.
No, no, no ma'am.
Let's, we'll take up the 8 that are here, and and because they're all reappointments, we'll take them all together. So, are they all in the room now?
I think so.
Okay,
You wanna come
all
over?
right, I'll make the announcements. So we have Metropolitan Board of Equalization reappointments of Dr. Truitt Ellis, Miss Sharon Emerson, Mr. Roger Farmer,
She's not here.
Mr. Charles Hankla, did I pronounce that correctly?
Right.
Thank you. Miss Melba Jackson. How are you? Mr. Trey Lewis.
Here.
Miss Sherilyn Pettis.
You wanna tell her?
I don't think I just was informed she's not here, and
She's
she
not
hasn't
here?
filed her questionnaire anyway, so I was
Okay.
gonna raise that issue.
And Mr. Carnell Scruggs.
Right here.
Okay, all right. So looks like we have 7 of the 9, is that correct? Okay, all right, well, we'll go forward with the 7 of you. I'll ask you these questions together. So if you'll just all answer them together, that'd be fine, unless you have a different answer. Are all of you registered voters?
Yes.
All of you Davidson County residents?
Yes.
Do any of you serve on any other boards or commissions than this one?
No.
Outstanding. So if any of you has,
Cute.
yeah, you've been through this before, so if anybody wants to say anything about this, you're welcome to have the floor. Otherwise, we'll turn it over to the committee for questions.
Yes, I would just like to
Sure.
say, thank you for appointing me the last year. It was such a great experience, and I'm really looking forward to, if reappointed, serving the community and the Nashville citizens again.
Thank you very much for those
Chairman,
comments.
she's a little delirious, just excuse her.
I would like to say something I usually don't, but I just appreciate your illustrious assessor property reappointing me, and that's just a privilege, and I really appreciate that.
He's a little delirious.
Excuse me, for, in the interest of transparency, I did not appoint them. You guys are doing this based on independent.
She's the one who I always talk to.
We all know who's behind the scenes.
Yeah, there you go, there you go. She's being real
I'm
modest.
sorry, the
here,
council
so.
member on the edge may take that seriously and tweet about that. Don't say that.
You have something you want to say?
I know you.
Respectfully, I hope the council does not raise taxes anytime soon, because that was a tough year.
It was brutal. It was a brutal year last year.
They're delirious
It was
too,
brutal.
Chairman. Just go ahead and do what you have to do.
I don't know, my appeal got turned down pretty quickly.
Okay, sorry. We won't say anything else.
Anybody else have it? Feel free to stand up and speak if you'd like. All right, well, does anybody on the committee have any questions for any of these members? Okay, we'll just take them all together in one vote. All in favor of the reappointment of these 7 individuals, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You are all recommended for reappointment. Thank you so much. And do we need to move to defer these, or are they deferred by rule, the ones that do not? That aren't
They will be deferred by rule.
Okay.
I mean, they just won't come up for appointment tonight. They'll
Sounds
come
good.
back the next
All
week.
right, any other business before we adjourn? All right, well, we are officially adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
A lot faster than the meetings you have, right?
What time?
Stick around for the rest of ours though.
We miss seeing.
I got my new.